Well, hello, nerds. It's time to talk about a tier list. This is not going to be a complete tier list. I'm actually still working on this, but there's a really nice, tier list generator here, which I will include, in the description below in case you want to make your own tier lists. And as you can see, you can customize it. Very big thanks to Salith, by the way, who made this. I don't know if you would like it if I referred to you by your name or not, but I'm just going to go with your GitHub ID. Anyways, I'm just gonna. You can like customize all sorts of stuff. Send me your, your tier list, just so I can laugh. Make your own stupid tier list. Like for instances, you can add, a certain tier list yourself. It's just be like, hey, here's Dorcas tier, and bam, Dorcas tier now above S plus, best tier ever. As you can see, it's really customizable and pretty simple. But I felt this was a better way of representing, representing a lot of this to give you an idea. But we're going to go through the new banner that came out, of course, Far-Fetched Heroes, and I'm just going to tell you what I thought of the units and where I would rate them on the tier list right now, okay? Now, some of you may not be too excited about this, but, or some of you may get angry with my placing. It really depends. Tier lists are always that kind of fun stuff here, so yeah. As you can see, there's all the characters available, including the new ones and the unreleased Joshua, who we'll be talking about more when the Tempest trial comes out for those who want to know. Alrighty, so let's just talk about them a bit, shall we? So let's just to show you, you just click on the character and it even shows their stats right now. And as you can see, we're going to talk about Mia first because Mia is the easiest one, and of course I usually try to go with reds, just in general. I do want to point out that she has a natural 40 speed, which is outrageous. She can go over that if she has a boon in it. But what really stands out with Mia is that a lot of people they keep going, she's like Ahhh, but she's not as good. And yes, technically she is not as good as Ahhh, at least in some ways. But she is damn close to Ahhh. In fact, if Ahhh was not released last banner, people would be losing their minds over Mia, because she is quite outrageous in how she works. 28 defense is nothing to sneeze at. 25 resistance is actually okay enough, and that's just, without a boon or a bane in those kind of situations. She's not crazy when it comes to, dealing with mages, but hey, you're not going to be running her in to get murdered by a blue tome unit, I'm sure. Still, nonetheless, where would I put her? Mia isn't easily, people always compare her to Ahhh, and where do I put Ahhh? I put Ahhh at S+, so naturally Mia is right behind her, chasing her coattails, possibly better depending on what IVs you end up with. She is going to, of course, be an S+ tier. She is just too much to ignore. She is incredibly powerful. That also comes from the fact that she, of course, has a weapon that has innate attack plus and a Wu Dao-like effect, meaning that if she, triggers any sort of ability, she's going to do a lot. She also comes with a lot of great skills without having to invest too much. Kind of like Ahhh, but not too much. Ahhh kind of came with the full package. You didn't really have to... It's kind of like buying, IKEA furniture with Mia, as you get some of it and you're like, okay, well that fits together, then you're just not too certain what to do with the rest. Meanwhile, Ahhh's actual furniture that just is properly packaged, it has all the screws and everything, it just fits perfectly. So not to diss Mia here, but almost called her Maya. Mia, she's a solid sword unit, so you should probably try using her just a wee bit. Alright, so let's move on to the next unit here. And when it comes to units that are available, we're not going to be talking about Joshua just yet. Joshua isn't out, and I don't feel good talking about initial strategies for him, because, well, no one has him. But he will probably be from... What do I mean probably? He's already shown to be released with the Tempest trial, so everyone gets him, and he's always going to be neutral no matter what. Now, the one thing about loot that I find really odd is, she's not really breaking any ground when it comes to, well, stat pool, I guess you can say. as a character, she's interesting, but just to give you an example, she is fairly close to Delthea and Lind. In fact, she's really close to what would be Delthea, except she actually has more defense and more attack, while Delthea, I believe, has more speed. And, you know, you get the kind of odd little examples there. And you can really run her into the ground with, like, terrible defense when it comes to, like, stacking certain abilities on her. But, Lute is kind of in the same situation as Delthea and Lind in that she's powerful, but she's not going to be extremely powerful. She's not like a broken unit like Ira was, or something like that, to give you a better example. Or Brave Lyn. She does a serviceable job at what she does, and there's no real reason to blame her for that, so, you know, when it comes to a tome unit like her, a good, solid blue tome unit, you really can't go wrong with Lute. A lot of her abilities tend to be, well, odd, but, you know, the weirding tome is interesting, and really, she has enough, at least from what I can tell, resistance to make a good use out of Iceberg or something of that value, so, you know, always a plus side. And because of that, she's going to be rated about the same point when it comes to Delthea and Lind, and that, of course, is she's going to be S, kind of bordering on that, a little bit. It just really depends. But, you know, still strong unit, good blue tome, and something you'll probably want to bring along in case you need that. You know, take out maybe a Mia who's harassing you. You can probably use that to your advantage. So yeah, Lind. Oh man, I'm getting them confused. Lute. She would get really upset with me if I said that. But anyways, she's great, solid unit, S tier for me at least. That seems to be something that's happening with a lot of units. Oh boy, it's Dorcas time now. Okay then, Dorcas tier. He's Dorcas tier, of course. He's going to be at the top. He's going to be right there. In fact, let's just do that right now, shall we? Let's just... there you go, Dorcas. You are now Dorcas tier. I'm kidding, of course, but here's a few things that are really interesting about Dorcas that I find just good, solid improvements over what is usually trying to create a, you know, powerful meta. That, of course, is that speed is usually something everyone loves. But Dorcas actually proves to me a lot more that, you know, defense or attack are usually the stats that you want to go with when it comes to Dorcas. In fact, if you get a defense plus speed minus Dorcas, that's one of the best IVs you can get for a set of boons and banes. That gives you an idea of where we're going here. Due to his natural counter, you know, his distant counter ability, this makes him a good means to at least getting rid of some of the more pesky units out there in today's meta, because right now we are extremely focused on blue tome units and bow units. I'm looking at you, Brave Lyn. I'm looking at you, Reinhardt. Those are units that I see a lot of. Everyone does. So naturally, his value is going to be quite a bit higher because, well, that's just how it is. When it comes to dealing with the current meta, you're going to be dealing with a lot of that. So, obviously, Dorcas is a great unit. You can stack things like distant defense on him, and he will have a extremely high defense and even resistance rating. If you do get a boon in resistance, it actually goes up to 28 as well. So technically not a terrible one to go with if you do get a res boosted Dorcas. As a unit, he's probably going to be... In fact, this is something that's really weird about the far-fetched heroes when it comes to rating. I would put him in S+ tier as well, just because he is able to, you know, deal with a lot of the units that are going to be problems for a lot of characters. Naturally, he's not only that, he kind of reminds me a lot of Hector. Just he doesn't have the quick riposte, which of course you can put on him normally. You know, and it's not an armored unit, of course, but that means he gets to move a bit further. He's kind of like... I mean, he and Brave Ike are kind of pushing, you know, those really powerful axe units up there that just take hits after hits. And of course, Dorcas is a great unit if you do get him. He does really well at what he can do, and I still think S+ is great. Now, the thing is, if we do start to get more towards something of a different meta, namely if they start to add in some more powerful, say, Red Tome users. Right now, we really don't have too many of them. Tharya, of course, is one unit that is used a lot, and Celica is another unit that everyone likes to use as well, which, in retrospect to a lot of other units, I mean, we have a ton of them now. We have another one for blues, we've gotten a ton of green units, Deirdre, Summer Elise, Nino, there's a lot of them out there, but right now there isn't many Red Tome units used right now that I readily see in a lot of situations, and even then, in some, Dorcas can actually tank him a bit better, but just be aware that his speed stat is, not the best, so he's going to need to be built like a tank, and he is a very strong character, so if you do get him, hopefully got him good stat spread. I personally would go more with defense, but that's just me. And honestly, that's where I would place them. I will, full out continue on with the tier list here when I get the chance to at least put units where I respectively think they will be, but you were asking me to rate them on a tier list, so there you go. That's where those three characters are. Joshua, I'm not too certain about. He seems to be a bit of an odd character when I look at his stats and his weapons and his skill set, but we'll look at him later when we get the chance. For now, though, guys, that's just me going through a tier list, giving you an idea, and then every new character that's added, we'll go through and I'll actually get Jay and we'll make a tier list here that's actually very serious, and it'll probably last an hour where we talk about it, but, in case you really wanted to know, there you go. So anyways, catch you nerds later. Thanks for watching. Oh, and before I go, I just wanted to say, as always, if you want, you could just click around here. There's tons of, videos that we do here, from heroes to otherwise, and as always, it's always helpful to, click around, see it. And if you liked this video and found it informative in any way, leave a like. It really does help out. And again, you can subscribe as well. So anyways, catch you nerds later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.